Experts say there are critical folders on your Windows, macOS and Linux system that you should not be messing with. But today I will mess with them. Specifically, I want to look at two very critical folders. One of them is the trash. When you move an item to the recycle bin on Windows, it actually goes to a hidden folder, which is called recycle.bin. This is where items get stored temporarily before they get deleted. But what would happen if we deleted this folder? I think there's only one way to answer this question. This folder also needs me to first take ownership of it and grant privileges to access it. And now let me just go ahead and delete the recycle bin folder. We can see that it returns file not found, so we have indeed deleted this folder that we should not have deleted. But now the question is, what happens if I move a file to the recycle bin now? It does go into the trash. Reason why the file still goes into the trash is because I think Windows has recreated the trash folder that we deleted. Although for some reason I cannot pinpoint it exactly. But actually, even if this is still working, there is a way we can break the trash. What we can do, or what we should not do, but I'm gonna do it anyway, is create a blank empty text file which has the same name as the recycle bin folder. And this is gonna make Windows think that the folder is still there and everything functions as it should. And now let's see what happens when we move a file to the trash. Let me create a new folder and now let's move it. And we can see that it doesn't even go into the trash, it just disappears. There's not even any confirmation or anything. Wait, let's move this one to the trash and it disappears. This one also disappears. What if I do the button? And are you sure you want to permanently delete this folder? It doesn't even move to the trash anymore. It's going to instantly permanently delete the file instead. The second folder that I want to mess with today is the user folder. And this one is located when you go to this PC, local disk, you go to users, and there's your user, basically, your user folder. In normal circumstances, you can't mess with your users folder that easily. Trying to delete it normally wouldn't even work. However, because I have messed up the recycle bin and it now functions in a way that the delete button immediately deletes files instead of moving them to the trash, Windows will now proceed to delete everything that it can in the user folder. So this isn't really a normal thing that usually happens. It's happening only because I broke the system already. Also, I wanted to achieve this anyway by logging into a second administrator account, but this just shortcuts things. But here we can see that the aftermath is that a lot of directories are deleted because they were inside of that user folder. Oh, and my Explorer EXE doesn't even work. Yeah, this is exactly why you should not be doing this on your own PC. Wait, let's restart and see what happens. I proceeded to log into my user, and I think the Windows Explorer might be acting up a little bit. It cannot be opened, and I can't even access it anymore. But now let's see the effects of deleting trash on macOS. And the trash folder on macOS is located at the user's home directory, and it's also a hidden folder. I think it doesn't even show up when you try to find it, but it's supposed to be here. I have just logged into a user with some elevated privileges, and we are going to be able to delete the folder from here. So let me just type the deletion command and .trash directory. Now it should be that I have deleted the trash folder, but watch what happens when I move a file to the trash. It still goes there. And the trash works perfectly fine, okay. On macOS, this folder also seemingly gets recreated if macOS detects that it's gone. So what I did is delete it again and create a blank empty text file with the same name as the hidden trash folder, just to trick macOS into thinking that it's still there. Then I tried to move a normal folder to the trash, and we can see that it is no longer possible. We get an error. The same happens regardless of the way you try to move the item to the trash. But now what about the user folder on macOS? And if you mess with this one on macOS, it also ends very badly. On macOS we can find the users folder if we go to Macintosh HD, the system drive. We go to users, and this is the directory that contains all of the users' home folders. We can see here this one is mine, and when I right click on it, it doesn't even show any options for deletion or renaming. But actually we can manage to delete it if we log on to a user with some elevated privileges. Let's open up the Finder and let's go to Macintosh HD, users, and there's my folder. And I think let's try to rename it. Maybe that's gonna give us some different effects. And now let's log back onto our normal user. It is taking a bit longer to log in, and I'm not even sure if it's gonna... Okay, yes, something's up. But specifically some Apple applications have something weird going on with their icons. They have lost their icons. I think the applications don't even work anymore. And I believe we might also have lost our data, like any files that we might have had on our system. Let's go to Macintosh HD and users. And macOS has simply created a new home folder for us. So do not mess with these folders on macOS. As simple as that. But now we have to check out how does this perform on Ubuntu Linux. And on this one, actually, we don't need any fancy permissions. We don't really need anything. We can just go ahead and delete the trash folder. On this one, the location is at home directory, .local, share, and trash. And we can delete it just like that. We didn't even need sudo for that. New folder, and let's move to trash. It goes in there. I think the system might have recreated the folder just now. And now since it has been recreated, let's delete it once more. And in its place, just like on other operating systems, we are going to create a blank empty text file with the same name as that hidden folder. New folder. Let's try to move it. Oh, you can't do that on Linux, okay? Move to trash. And now Ubuntu is gonna tell us that new folder cannot be put in trash. Do you want to delete it immediately? Similarly to what we saw on macOS. I guess the system is not really broken. You can just delete the file and it's gonna be fine. But now we have to check out the user folder and how to delete that one. I mean, don't delete your user folder. Never do that. This is our home directory and it has my user folder data stream in it. Let's do sudo rmrf home data stream. If I do ls, we see we don't have a user folder anymore. And now that I have done this, there's a lot of shenanigans that happens on the system. For example, we can see that I can't create a new folder. Desktop icons, folder creation failed. Was it always these little applications here, or was it because I deleted all of them with the user folder? I think I might have deleted everything. Firefox, does that one work? No, it doesn't. This one is not gonna open. Oops, something went wrong. Unable to find home data stream. And I also want to see what happens if I restart my system. My user is still there. Sorry, Ubuntu 2604, and something happened to my settings. Yeah, it doesn't even save my settings anymore. Oops, something went wrong. Unable to find home data stream. You can check out a very similar video to this one right here, and I'll possibly see you there.